So, and everyone's going to be able to ask questions during the Pit Crew Collab because I'm sure there are a ton. But our next speaker is Constance Sayers. Constance is the president of GovExec. And, oh, do I have to click that? Hold on. And she's also on the advisory board, as you saw this morning, and she's been a huge supporter. So Constance has her own presentation, which is fabulous. So I'm going to give that to you.
I just advance that.
Yeah.
Good. Oh.
Can you hear?
So government executive.
Oh,
ripped
whose
up next.
dogs are these?
I don't know, but I love them.
All right, my dog Peeps left. Okay.
There you go. All right, cool. All right. It's not working. Why is it not working? Is there a reason why it's not working?
Do you guys have the right clicker on this one?
There should be another slide. You can click for me. I'll just, you can go to the next slide if you want to, if it's there. This is always what happens when you get slides, right?
You do this when you have event organizers
I
in the
know.
audience. Here, I'll take.
Thank you. It's perfect. It's all right. There we go. All right. So government executive has been around for about 55 years now. We started in 1969. Our very first cover was President Nixon, and the headline was "What to Expect from Richard Nixon." Don't know that we actually got that crystal ball right, because I don't think anyone could see what was going to happen with the Nixon administration, but we had a long history of connecting government leaders, government buyers, purchasers with the vendor community. Our big clients are Boeing, Lockheed, Google, AWS. And this was, we had built 80% of our business was lead generation. We had built a very vibrant research business, had expanded into, adjacent markets in defense and state and local. And we were owned by the Atlantic. And then in 2020, the Atlantic sold us to a private equity firm. And we went on, I'm going to say, this is the next slide here, 16 acquisitions in 2 years. About every 6 to 8 weeks, we were buying something. And the idea here, the thesis was that what we were going to be able to do is convert us from a media company, a demand gen media company, into an intelligence platform. And it was kind of like the buffet at a cruise ship. It was like, wow, we have a lot of things. And our customers thought this was amazing, but they didn't really know what to do with it. And I don't know that we really did whenever we had everything to kind of absorb everything. So it took us about a year or two to absorb everything, even as we were acquiring other companies. And so what I'm going to show you next, I actually want to show you kind of our go-to-market evolution, because I think it's really fascinating to kind of see how we changed our products and kind of as we kind of discovered more things about the way customers were approaching all of the acquisitions that we made. So the next slide, it's kind of almost like a family feud tile. I'm going to switch over here, if it works there. So essentially what we did here, all of those companies, we flipped the tile and they became a capability. And what you can see here is that most people knew us from the brands tile. So, they were buying leads off of us. The marketer was the persona that we worked with the most. And then what we started to do, though, was start to work with, at a company, the sales teams. Because they everything was in the marketing was in support of contracts that they were pursuing. So all of the tiles to the left there are things that were being sold to the sales and the business development personas. And then we also had community. We were buying communities and peer network groups. And so, this was a really interesting phase in our career. We're like, okay, we have capabilities. We are working, the thesis here you can also see. Why do we buy companies? We bought them if they were federal, state, and local defense, and if they checked one of those boxes, RFP data, insights, brands, decisions, and professional development. So this was the thesis that we were out buying and when we were acquiring things. And the capabilities, I think, were starting to make sense to our clients, but they still really didn't know how it pertained to them. And we were kind of cross-selling a little bit and not really kind of getting the traction that we wanted to. And about 2022, I was having dinner with a client, and we were having some interesting things happening. Our events were through the roof. I think everyone was seeing that. People were buying events like crazy, 2022, 2023. and it was kind of returning to the world. But our insights group was up 50%. And it was very interesting. And I was sitting with a client, and she said to me, I used to just go into the Department of Homeland Security, and I'd walk the halls, and my clients would all be there. And now they're not there anymore. And it clicked to me. I was like, well, she's going to events to meet these clients because they're not there anymore. But you don't meet with your clients. You don't know what's going on with them. She had no answers for how her product was perceived in the agency. And I was like, that's why our insights and our custom research business is completely doubling in the year. Then I flew out to California for a 30-minute meeting, which I'm thrilled to do, with a client who could give me 30 minutes and no more. And this is a big name in the industry. And it was clear the marketing person started arguing about their partner strategy. And I had brought all this data from what we have here. And I said, sounds like you have a little bit of a partner strategy issue. I said, I just want to show you that in the thing that you're known for, you're number 8 with our research to the buyers in government. And they were like, we're number. I said, no, that might be okay with you if your partners are 1 through 7. And you want to sell to the partners, that could be okay with you. But I could tell from her face it wasn't okay. And I said, so what agencies matter to you? And she said, well, Veterans Affairs. I said, oh, okay, here are the top vendors in Veterans Affairs for this subject matter. And what I was able to do with all these agencies, because I happen to have all the data, was basically map out the partner strategy for them. And that was not what I intended to go in and do. But what started to happen here is I started to see that we could apply these capabilities and solve problems for our customers. So we have a pretty good key accounts program. It represents about 50, our top 32 customers represent about 50% of our revenue. And so what we did was we created what we call the placemat strategy. And it's a little theatrical, but what we wanted to do is we wanted to get in front of clients, and we wanted to talk to them. And we used to be owned by The Atlantic, and David Bradley, who owned it, if any of you know him, advisory board, corporate executive board, it's a very theatrical thing. He puts this placemat, which is an oversized piece of paper down, and it has generally some type of big thinking that he wants you to, kind of big thinking moment. So what we did was we went into our clients and we basically told them with data that we had on them. It completely changed. $1.4 million additional revenue came from this placemat. We went out to people and we said, this is what we know about your place in the market. This is what we know about the contracts you're pursuing. This is how your competitors are doing better than you. This is what you did with us, and this is how the insights on that, we know that your campaign either performed better or worse. And what started to happen here is we had just incredibly different conversations with our clients. And so this is how we're starting. And then what would happen also is, rather than me selling a capability that they really couldn't kind of connect with, people started saying, I want that. Where's that? And we started to sell this way very successfully. And so this has been just a huge success for us, and really a different way for us of thinking about how our capabilities solve problems for our customers. This is how people generally kind of interact with us. Data insights, content leads. We now have community that I would add here. Our big priorities are about 22% of our revenue is currently recurring ARR revenue. In 3 years, we want that to be 40%. So that's a big mandate for us. So recurring revenue for us is big. We've got a community product that has a subscription. We are now also kind of increasing GovTribe, which is our crown jewel. You'll hear me talk a lot about GovTribe. It's our data platform, our primary data platform. And it has about 3,000 customers. A lot of them were kind of in the self-service $600 price point. We're kicking that upstairs into the $5,000 to $10,000 price point and converting people up with new features. That's a big part of just increasing our mid-market there. Then we also have a big push for us, which is moving our lead generation business into intelligent leads, and you will see that eventually, probably within the year, on a subscription platform as well. We're going to probably move that over into GovTribe so that you have to go to GovTribe to get your leads. So we want, our different personas, they do work and they interact with one another, and we're going to try and get them on the same platform. And so the last thing I want to talk about is I know that this is rare, that we're owned by a PE firm, and one of the things when you acquire 16 data sets is we had to get everybody on a unified customer data platform. And it was expensive. But our PE firm knew that we absolutely, if we wanted to be where we needed to be as a company, all of those, we bought a lot of undercapitalized small firms. We had to who the databases were on MS-DOS, and it was really interesting. And so what we had to do, though, is we had to get this on a unified data platform, and we put it in GovTribe. So GovTribe absorbed information on 4.3 million of our records from our media properties. And we also absorbed in our Market Edge product, which was state and local, so that basically one platform for GovTribe, and it had all of that data. And that was really interesting because we were able to, have so much more insights on our, on our customers. And if you would click into a contract, you would basically have who the contracting officer was and all the data around that. Fast forward, though. But it was an expensive investment. And I think a lot of folks would not, I've just been talking to a lot of you. It's like, wow, how did you convince them to do that? They really had the foresight, our PE firm, to do that. To really see that this was going to be essential for us. It had an unintended consequence, though, which was fabulous. Come along, April 2023, generative AI explodes. And we had laid the groundwork for fine data. We were sitting on a data juggernaut. And, the founders of GovTribe start playing around with a chat bot built that basically had pulled in every single article. A lot of them are behind the paywall. And you could ask it a question and it would pull up everything. So rather than reading the article, you could just ask it and it would basically pull, in the voice of the editor, it would pull it up. And it was really, but they started then building that framework out. So now you go into a contract. You get, we have built ready prompts to help people, like the likely questions that they get. We can help you write a proposal. So if this is a good fit for you, we can basically send you. So we actually have really actionable AI, and it's real AI. I've gone to some, some SaaS conferences where people were like, oh yeah, we got to, this is our AI. And it's like, that's not really AI. So, we really have a tool that we are using for AI. And so, it's a great marketing assistant, and we're able to, basically do functions for our clients. So I will say that one of the things that we are doing now is monetizing this. And we're looking at monetizing it because, it has to, pay for itself. And it already has with a lot of, I think it probably paid for itself last year with all the insights that used our AI data to basically increase, again, another 50%. But what we're doing here now is monetizing a few different ways with AI. First of all, we are different tiers for GovTribe, so we're monetizing it by higher tiers. But then also, we did offer our clients on the marketing lead gen side, if they spent $150,000 or more, they could get some of these insights around their leads, the actionable intelligence around their leads. And I believe, looking over at, I think they all took, we had 5 clients that took us up on that. And an interesting thing, too, we had a client who said to us, it's a bummer, we had a webinar with y'all, and everyone, only 10 people showed up live. I'm like, well, we had 50 people who showed up. Yeah, but only 10 live. And we actually ran them through the data, and the people that didn't show up live are the people that were buying the stuff today. But we could actually take that back, and it really changes the conversations that we're having with clients. And so this is a difference. This is kind of before and after. These were the 5 fields that we used to have. name, email, phone, agency, job function. Now what we can also give are, this is where we're going, the superior lead intelligence. So it's content, how Raj wants his content preferences, top interests, events he's attended, vendor preferences, everything about his agency. And so it starts to just really give a much better, much more robust profile. And then what we're also doing now is putting this, we have a program called GovProspects, which basically is lead intelligence that we can tell you of everybody in this room, who are the people who are buying your product likely. You may not know it, you may not actually think it. And so it's like us elevating those with intent signals and giving that to our clients. And I just did some do's and don'ts just because, 16 acquisitions was a lot. And like I said, we just bought something 2 weeks ago. So we're still buying. Do look for acquisitions that expand your segment. I think I heard that today from some other folks this morning. Do stay focused on your clients' pain points. They also don't often know them. You got to pull them out and then try to figure out how you can solve problems. Be in the problem-solving business. Do use your key account programs to expand your connections. Do be mindful of the personas you serve. I had no idea how complex our lead ecosystem was for our clients. It's crazy, and I need to understand that better because I think that's a big way that our lead intelligence machine is going to be able to work for them. Do get everyone involved in your financial and data system as soon as possible. Bring them on quickly. That's been a pain point for us. Do be obsessed with accounts that do not renew. That is the first, that's the first sign that things are wrong, and be kind of obsessed with what's happening there. Don't harm the business. You're going to be like, huh? Do no harm first, which is that just kind of keep the motions going until you know the business well. We would get in and we get so excited, we want to help and improve the business. And sometimes we would break the business quickly, because we would be trying to improve it and they'd be like, oh, whoa, we need to put that back. And then don't take your traditional products for granted, because don't let the technology go stale on them. And I think it's easy to do when you fall in love with some of the data stuff that you kind of let that, and you can pull that data right in and make those basically your traditional products better. And then one last thing, which isn't on here, don't be afraid to consolidate. We did that. We pulled one data platform into another, and we consolidated a bunch of our publications. It really made us sharper. And I think that has been just a big learning that I think people are afraid to do sometimes, and it really helps. So I'm going to turn that over back to you.